Indo-European is the language family containing English, Spanish, Hindi, Russian, and about 450 other modern languages. But not all historical languages have survived to the modern day. Of the 10 main branches of the family, 2 have no modern descendants and are known only from ancient texts and inscriptions. These are Anatolian and Tocharian. Tocharian is generally considered to have been the second branch to split off from the Proto-Indo-European language, around 500 years after the ancestor of Anatolian went its own way. At this point, only 3 branches of the family existed, with all 450 modern languages descending from the third. Spoken in the north of the Tarim Basin of Central Asia, the Tocharian family was composed of 2 languages, which are conventionally referred to as A and B, although the names Agnian and Kuchian, or East and West Tocharian respectively, are sometimes used instead. These share a common ancestor, Proto-Tocharian, which was spoken until around 500 BC, at which point the 2 daughters likely began to diverge. However, the earliest written attestations date only from around the mid-1st millennium AD, after which they enjoyed a few more centuries before going extinct. In this video, I'll walk you through the evolution of these 2 languages, following a list of 22 words. At each of the stages of Proto-Indo-European, Proto-Tocharian and the 2 daughters, I'll read this list in a reconstructed pronunciation. In between, we'll look at the main sound changes which produced each stage, written in sound change notation, a special semi-standardized way of showing what changes to what, under which conditions. Here are my conventions, but if you don't want to have to read and figure out this notation as we go, don't worry, because I'll talk you through every step of the way. It's worth noting that while the history of Tocharian is understood in broad terms, experts still disagree on many of the specifics, so for this video I'll be following Don Ringe, who presents the most complete account, although I do supplement this with works by other authors. Finally, before we start, I want to let you know that this is the 8th video in this series, and I'm always adding more, so if you want to learn about the development of other languages, make sure to check out the full playlist at the end of this video. So, here is our initial word list in Proto-Indo-European. While the identities of the laryngeals, the H's with the little numbers, aren't known, I'll be following Robert Beeks in pronouncing H1 as a glottal stop, and H2 and H3 as plain and labialized pharyngeal fricatives. Gnertir, Romsos, Quos, Wikimti, Dungwars, Gompos, Queklos, Marter, Metne, Nomen, Nevos, Rostu, Penque, Rutros, Gwenar, Suyus, Swepnos, Surtros, Tukerter, Equos, Esrer, Ruetentos. At the start of the long transition to Proto-Tocharian, we see colouring of the E vowel next to laryngeals, and loss of laryngeals intervocalically. Palate velars merge with plain velars, the same change that later affected most of the European branches of the family, and the second laryngeal vocalises after high vowels. Laryngeals are lost next to other vowels, and a number of vowel sequences are resolved. Laryngeals vocalise to schwa between consonants, and are lost elsewhere. The labial and alveolar aspirates are lost after nasals, then aspirates deaspirate before later aspirates. The remaining aspirates devoice, and adjustments are made to resultant reduplicated forms. Y is often lost intervocalically, and schwa merges with A. Final S becomes yod in monosyllables, and D is lost before non-syllabics. E merges with labiovelars to form back-rounded vowels, and syllabic resonants vocalise. M becomes N finally or before alveolars, clusters with S are shortened or epenthesized, and most final consonants are lost, including several formally ending in I. T affricates before I, and schwa is raised to high. Certain final diphthongs monophthongise, resulting in the creation of a new vowel, e. Long O is raised word finally, then all other O's unround. Long A rounds and the new schwa lowers, meaning that earlier long O and A have effectively switched places. Schwa is rounded before U, the high central vowel lowers word initially, and consonants are palatalized before front vowels and yod. A is rounded to O before the round vowel created earlier, which itself also backs to or. Short I, E and U merge with the high central vowel, but leave traces of their differences, word initially and near velars. Vowel length is lost, and the round vowel, where not affected by the earlier mutation, merges with e. Before semivowels, the high central vowel likely assimilated, although this remained allophonic throughout the Proto-Tocharian period, and speakers still viewed these as variants of the same underlying sound. Palatalized S shifts in quality to become some sort of post-alveolar fricative, and D affricates except before consonants or after nasals. Aspirates merge with plain stops, and palatalized labiovelars delabialize. Palatalized velars merge with palatalized affricates, which then deaffricate. M is stopped to B before resonance, and obstruents lose their voicing, meaning that all three original stop series had now merged. W is often lost intervocalically, with the two vowels merging in complex ways, and first syllable resonants metathesize with a following high central vowel in open syllables. This includes those vowels before semivowels, which were still allophonic at this point, meaning that they revert to their central form when no longer before semivowels. Schwa is rounded to O before another O, nasals assimilate to a following velar stop, stop nasal clusters simplify, and a similar umlaut process begins with A, but only affects unstressed syllables at this point. A few words in our list produce forms we wouldn't expect. The word for 20, for instance, seems to lose its final syllable. This can be explained as a sandy form without the final laryngeal, which was originally used before words starting with certain consonants, but then became generalized as the default form of the word. This loss resulted later in a short final vowel, which was able to be lost where a long vowel couldn't. The now final T was then likewise regularly lost. Another unexpected form is of the word for tongue. Here we see the two stops have metathesized, which must have happened some time after the loss of preconsonantal D, but before its prevocalic affrication. Other than this, its evolution is fully regular. The word for ignorant lost its first N. This N was part of the negative prefix un, which regularly lost its N before S consonant clusters. This form was later extended to other words without an S, such as our word here. Finally, the word for sun. In the genitive, this word regularly developed with a different vowel to in the nominative, due to vowel length and word structure differences. This vowel was then extended to the nominative, which regularly developed to the form we see. In addition to this, the genitive was later changed to fit with other U-stem nouns on the basis of the nominative. In the following word lists, I'll be using standardized Tocharian conventions to write the words, so take a moment to familiarize yourself with these. In particular, note the use of A with various diacritics for the three central vowels. In the attested Tocharian languages, there are also two ways of denoting the N sound, so be aware that an M with an underdot represents a N and not a M. Agnatsa, Ansa, Ngwa, Riken, Gundwo, Gama, Gwugla, Macher, Menye, Nyamu, Nyua, Wostu, Binche, Ritra, Shina, Soyu, Shwibna, Swara, Tugacher, Yukwa, Yusar, Renta. Into Tocharian A, we first see the merger of E and O with schwa, and lowering of the high mid-vowels to replace them. Schwa is rounded in certain labial environments, labiovelars merge with clusters, and central vowels round next to these. Labiovelars are then delabialized, and palatalized W is depalatalized. Nasal sibilant clusters simplify, and some cause fronting of preceding central vowels. Word final vowels are lost in polysyllables, and resulting clusters either vocalize or gain an epenthetic vowel. Central vowels are raised in low vowel environments, and the high central vowel is lost in open syllables. Palatal clusters geminate, T assimilates to later ch, and diphthongs monophthongize. Agnats, S, Unk, Wiki, Guntu, Gum, Google, Macher, Many, Nyom, Nyu, Wusht, Ben, Rtir, Shin, Se, Spin, Swar, Skacher, Yuk, Isar, Wunt. Let's go back now to Proto-Tocharian to see how the other language developed. At the end of the Proto-Tocharian period, we saw lowering of schwa before A. This change was still ongoing when the two languages split, so while Tocharian A only had it in unstressed syllables, it continued in B to all instances. We then see fronting of the high central vowel after palatal labials, full palatalization of the palatalized W, and depalatalization of remaining sounds. schwa is fronted to E, and the high mid vowels merge with other vowels, the front raising and the back lowering. TK clusters simplify, and initial semi-vowels are lost before certain vowels. The high central vowel rounds before labiovelars, and labiovelars delabialize, although clusters do not, meaning that the two do not merge. A high central vowel is inserted between a heavy syllable and a resonant, and stressed high central vowels lose their stress wherever a neighbouring syllable may take it. Words of 3 or more syllables move their stress from the first syllable to the second, and the high central vowel is lost in unstressed open syllables, and in a few other positions. Disyllabic words become stressed on the first syllable, and central vowels change depending on their stress. Certain clusters merge or metathesize, and clusters of a nasal or resonant and S gain an epenthetic T. One irregular development is that of the word for sleep, which appears to show the result of the epenthesis and deletion rules, even though the syllable before contained the weak vowel. The reason for this isn't certain, but it may be due to influence of the genitive of the word. It's been suggested that the original Indo-European word wasn't actually swebnos, but swoper, which used an N in the oblique cases. This would have shifted to a nos declension in all daughters, but left this trace in Tocharian, where the central vowel would have been original, and this form then extended to the Tocharian B nominative. Alternatively, it could be a loan word from Tocharian A, although this seems less likely. Agnatse, Anse, Enque, Igen, Gundwo, Geme, Gugale, Macher, Menye, Niem, Nue, Ost, Bich, Ratre, Shene, Soy, Spene, Sware, Tkacher, Yukwe, Yusser, Yente. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's a link to my bibliography in the description, and remember to check out the other videos in this series. If there's a language you want me to cover, let me know, but until then, I'll see you next time.